world. Oh my god. Hey guys, Gremlin Lord here. I'm just trying to decide where I want to spend all of eternity now that I'm dead. Speaking of eternity, let's talk about the Regal mystery movie that happened on November 10th, 2025, and it was, as expected, eternity. In an afterlife where souls have 1 week to decide where to spend eternity, Joan is faced with the impossible choice between the man she spent her life with and her first love, who died young and has waited decades for her to arrive.
Rated PG-13.
The movie opens on an elderly couple, Larry and Joan, driving to their children's house for a gender reveal party. They bicker back and forth about moving, friends, and the purpose of a gender reveal party. Shortly after arriving, Larry kicks the bucket. He awakens on a train on its way to the afterlife junction, but now he's a much younger version of himself. This now dead version of Larry is played by Miles Teller. Now this younger Larry has all the memories and some of the mannerisms of older Larry, and I think this is where Teller really shines. He captures the essence of an older man living inside of a younger man's body. I think out of the main trio of characters, he does this the best. A week later, his wife, Joan, arrives after losing her battle with cancer. Younger Joan is played by the always adorable Elizabeth Olsen. Olsen doesn't quite embody her older self in this new younger version, but she still brings heart and emotion to the role. It seems like fate that Larry and Joan will be able to spend all of eternity together. That is until Joan's first husband, Luke, appears. He passed away during the Korean War and has been waiting for Joan for 67 years. Luke is played by Callum Turner. Callum gives the character a kind of imperfect perfection, like he's too good to be true. Now Joan has to decide to spend eternity with her husband of 65 years or with her first husband who died young before they even had a chance to have a life together. Luckily, there are 2 afterlife coordinators, or ACs, there to help. Anna, played by Divine Joy Randolph, is Larry's AC. Then there's Ryan, played by John Early, who is Joan's AC, although he's also very close to Luke. The ACs are tasked with getting people acclimated to the idea that they are now dead, and to help them pick an eternity scenario. And they have 1 week to complete that process. This is the aspect of the film that I found very interesting and funny. When you die, you revert back to the version of yourself when you were happiest. Maybe when you graduated college, or your wedding day, or maybe when your children were born. It varies from person to person. It was fun to see how some people were happiest when they were a child, and other people were very happy when they were senior citizens. It also makes the audience self-reflect. When was the happiest moment of your life so far? I honestly can't think of mine. But once you were there, you have a week to pick your eternity scenario. That is the type of world you want to live in for the rest of eternity. There's this full expo floor full of booths advertising all kinds of scenarios. Yes, even in death, you cannot escape salespeople. But there are so many different places to choose from. The movie does show you dozens of them, but personally, I would have loved to just walk around that expo floor and see them all for myself. There are all of the religions that you can think of. There are environments like mountain retreats or sunny beaches. There's museums, Parisland, and there's even a place that lets you become an infant again to be babied. It's really limitless, but you only get 1 choice. And once you're there, you can never leave. Where do you think you would go? Where would you want to spend eternity? I love this whole concept. It's something I've never really heard of before. It allows personal freedom while respecting other people's beliefs. So if you want to go to the pearly gates, go to the pearly gates. But if you want to go live in the Colosseum, go live in the Colosseum. It's something that I was thinking about well after I left the theater. It makes you think about your life as a whole, which can be pretty depressing. But the visuals of the film are far from sad. The whole junction has a pseudo 1960s, 1970s retro vibe while still being a bit modern and magical. It's full of bright colors and retro technology. My favorite thing was how they show the passage of time. Instead of a beautiful scenic view outside of your hotel window, there was a curtain with a blue sky and clouds, much like what you see behind me now. And when it was nighttime, an evening curtain would unfurl and then a record would start to play cricket noises. I thought this was a fun and smart way to show the practicality of a place like this. It doesn't exist in time and space. It tries to make people feel comfortable in an artificial but artistic way. Unfortunately, the film does get a little too comfortable in the treads of previous romantic comedies. I don't watch a lot of rom-coms, but the plot still felt a little too familiar. Well made, but familiar. And that's the weakest aspect of the film for me. I knew who Joan was going to pick within the first 20 minutes of the film. It was obvious to me, but I still did enjoy the journey to get to that decision. That journey is full of laughs and tears. The ACs were downright hilarious, and their comedy did not undercut the dramatic tones of the film. I was laughing all the time. Divine Joy Randolph had a quick wit and a warmth about her. She was my favorite character of the movie. The competition between the two husbands was also humorous. They both have an important connection to Joan, and they're always trying to one-up each other. There were a few jokes that just didn't quite land with me, though. For example, one of the characters was made fun of because they dye their hair and they enjoy adult literature. I found that odd since the vast majority of people do those things. There's also a ton of heart-tugging moments as well. Imagine having not one, but two loves of your life waiting to spend all of eternity with you. I can't even fathom that. Joan is stuck in the middle, deciding between a tried and true marriage and the unrealized potential of a marriage cut short. The pacing of the film is allowed to flow nicely, though it does drag a bit near the end when Joan is finalizing her decision. Some of those scenes felt a bit long, but maybe that was done to make the audience feel like the husbands waiting desperately for the final decision. There's also some moments later in the film where we are shown some unpleasant memories, but it wasn't immediately clear whose memories they were, and the movie moves on from them very quickly. I think a few extra moments with these negative memories would have humanized the film a bit more, because bad experiences are part of our lives and help form who we are. They also would have added a little bit of depth to the struggles of the trio. In the end, Eternity was an unexpected gem. While its approach to the afterlife is novel and funny, it still follows a formulaic recipe of a rom-com. And it's for these reasons that I am giving the Regal mystery movie Eternity the Moment of Happiness score of 7 out of 10. I ended up liking it a lot more than I thought I would, but it will still feel a bit too familiar to some people. What about you? Did you catch the early screening of Eternity? If not, it will be in theaters on November 26th. In the meantime, tell me about your moment of pure happiness and your ideal scenario down in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe to help me feel some type of happiness before I reach the afterlife junction. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in Taco Bell World. Or maybe Star Trek World. What about Star Wars? I don't know, I gotta keep thinking about this. See you next week.